onlookers of YouTube, Sister Danger here. I was going about my pleasant evening when this business crossed my path. Now, I don't normally do direct response videos because I don't normally see them. I don't scour the internet for content made by other people that I can reply to. I don't own a television, and so I'm not usually watching media casually. But tonight I happened across this video via the Woolybumblebee channel, and it looks like Mr. Woolybumblebee, hope I got that right, has archived this on their website, so I went and took a look at the original video. I decided that I was going to respond to the Jenny McDermot video, not only because it is so painful to watch, but because there are a number of things going on in this video and subsequent responses to it that I feel like should perhaps be addressed. I often see these things spoken about erroneously on yon interwebs, and my hope here is to provide a little bit of clarity as to what the situation and the various elements involved are. My plan here is to just go through this video and comment when I see fit to comment, and then at the end discuss a little bit in actuality what defamation of character actually means, what is libel, slander, lying, what is cyber terrorism, and hopefully untangle all of those things a little bit. So without further ado, I bring to you.
And that her and Armoured Skeptic have been dating since she was, drumroll, 17 years old.
Dun dun dun! Raise the alarms! A 17-year-old was dating somebody! Turns out 17-year-olds date people all the time. So I decided to do a quick cross-reference here, and I went to Shoe on Head's Twitter account and found in her little brief bio there that she has New York and Canada listed presumably as where she's from. So I took that information, and then I went to Wikipedia to take a look at what the ages of consent are across North America and in particular the United States. So please allow me to point your attention in the direction of this little chart where it shows New York and then all the rest of the Northeast. You can see by looking at this chart that the age of consent in New York is 17. And for all the rest of the northeastern United States, it's even lower. It's 16 years old.
So, he's 30. Okay?
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So the real problem here is that you just disapprove of the age gap in the relationship. Well, I guess it's a good thing that we don't have to go to you to get relationship approval. Otherwise, you may as well open the Jenny McDermot and Kim Davis Office of Approvals for Marriage and Relationships.
So, I am going to go ahead and dox him right now.
Because apparently you've deemed yourself the Judge Dredd of the internet.
I'm doing that because he's a rapist.
People who have been found guilty of rape in a court of law via due process, those are rapists, and not until then. But that notwithstanding, let me go ahead and read to you a couple of things. The National Crime Prevention Council defines cyberbullying as the process of using the internet, cell phones, or other devices to send or post text or images intended to hurt or embarrass another person. You just willfully doxed a person. Defamation of character. Defamation is a wrongful act that occurs when someone makes a false statement of fact about you, like calling you a rapist, for example, and you suffer harm to your reputation as a result. So you just called somebody a rapist without any proof. And interestingly, calling somebody a rapist is considered to be such a severe accusation that can very harmfully impact somebody's reputation and thereby their business or their income or livelihood, their job, etc., etc. that it is considered by the courts to be automatically harmful. In other words, if Armoured Skeptic wanted to go ahead and try to sue you, one of the things that he would be off the hook for having to prove is that this is a harmful statement. And by the way, that goes for everybody else out there that likes to run around accusing people of being child molesters and rapists. These are very serious accusations to make about another person. And should those people choose to take action when you're making that kind of claim in public, if it really does detriment that person and they can show it and they can link it back to you, you may be in hot water, little lobster. So I would suggest that people refrain from running about calling these names to one another. Or at least if you're gonna go ahead and slap that title onto somebody, you might want to try to CYA and say that this is just my opinion, or I'm not saying, I'm just saying. See what I'm saying?
I'm doing that because he's a rapist.
Now, I don't really know if I like where this is going, because the last time I checked, in order to be a rapist, there has to be some sort of sexual intercourse going on. So, back to the beginning of the story, Shoe on Head, who's 17, is dating Armoured Skeptic, who is over 18, and Jenny McDermot comes to the conclusion that this makes him a rapist. You know, the implications that you're making about their sex life are well, they're kind of lewd and a little bit rude and a lot presumptuous, and if you actually have an inside track on their sex life, inquiring minds want to know. I take it back, that's a dirty lie. We really don't want to know what's going on in the bedrooms of other people. It's cool.
And when Hannibal was exposed as being a child molester, we all doxed him because we all decided as a community that it is absolutely okay to dox pedophiles.
Ooh, so now it's Judge Dredd and the Inquisitors. Kind of sounds like a terrible 80s speed metal band. Anyway, the point that I'm going to get at here is this phenomenon that you have experienced where we all went in and did it together. It's called a diffusion of responsibility, and it's something that occurs when a group of people get together and they all do something, a lot of times a wrong something, but they all feel like it's okay because everybody has participated in the wrongful action and therefore the blame gets shared amongst the entire group. Still wrong. Oh, and also, as it turns out, if this person was actually a child molester, you wouldn't have to dox them because their name and information would be on a very public list of sex offenders that anybody can look up.
And in my opinion, this is pretty close to pedophilia.
Oh, Jenny's opinion! Well, call the cops and throw that guy in jail. As an aside, I wonder how old Jenny was when she lost her virginity.
Earlier in the night, I was trolling the comments of a Sargon and Logic Hangout.
I thought she hated these guys. Doesn't it seem kind of pathetic to sort of cyberstalk or lurk on the pages or channels of somebody that you don't like?
Well, newsflash people, the guy's videos are fucking shit. They're long as fuck, boring as fuck. He puts zero effort into his editing, and he films these off the cuff.
Oh, sorry, I dozed off there for a second while Jenny was speaking of videos that have zero production value. So now that we're done with the daily drama of our lives, there are a couple things that I want to touch on. First, as much as I really don't like Jenny's side of this entire debacle, it is just as erroneous and just as unjust to label or slap Jenny with some sort of verdict that she is breaking the law when she hasn't actually either been charged or gone through any kind of court trial, just the same as anybody else. Even though I really find all of these things that she is saying very foolish and potentially potentially somewhat dangerous to her in regards to whether or not this could result in some sort of action. She hasn't been convicted of those things, so I hate to see her be wrongfully hammered for those things. Second, a small discussion of terms, if we could. Libel is defamation that occurs in some sort of written or physical format like photographs, anything other than spoken or hand gestures. And if it is spoken or hand gestures, then we call it slander. And there are a number of components which go into a defamation lawsuit that are required in order to even bring the suit in the first place. So some of the things that have to be shown are that, one, that the defamation occurred, and two, that the defamation is true. So the person bringing the suit would have to show that their claims are in fact true to begin with. Three, you would have to show that because of this defamation, because of these rumors, that you have suffered some sort of fiscal or monetary loss. This has caused you to lose your job. It has caused you to in some way lose revenue, or your business has lost customers. You have received damages, and there are a number of different types of damages. One of those damages could be, for example, psychological damage. If you have gone through this extensively and for long enough, such that you have had to seek psychological help, that might be actionable for you to seek recompense. So there are a number of other mitigating things that would go into a classic defamation case, and some of those include whether or not the speech or the content that was defamatory in the first place, whether or not that was specifically protected. And specifically protected would mean, for example, defamatory statements about a person that are made under oath. If a person is sitting on the stand, then whatever they say there, they are free to say it without the fear that they may receive a lawsuit against them later on down the line for having said it. So that would be an example of this specifically protected type of speech. Other things that can mitigate a suit like this would be whether or not the person, the plaintiff that is being defamed, is already a person of public awareness, whether or not they're a public figure is what it's called. And if you are a public figure like a politician, you're an actor, etc., what this means is that there is a higher bar for you to show that this particular attempt at defamation of character has actually caused you damages, because it is presumed that when you're in the public eye, you receive a lot more of critical commentary all the time. Anyway, what I'd like to see is just Armoured Skeptic send a cease and desist letter to Jenny McDermot. Hey, that would at least set the stage for something going on down the line, and maybe for just a minute, she'll shut up and stop saying the most moronic things, for which there is not enough wine, I don't think, in all the world. Thank you, everybody. That's it for now. Please remember, if you wish to support me in my video making endeavors, you can find me on Patreon, where I even offer rewards for your support. Have a good night, everybody, and I will see you next time.